Okay, today we shall be looking at environmental factors that affect agriculture production. This is part 3. We've studied parts 1 and 2. But today's on shall be the Edaphic factors that affect agriculture production. At the end of the lesson, the learner should be able to explain Edaphic factors that affect agriculture production. They should be able to list elements of Edaphic factors that affect agriculture production. They should also be able to discuss some elements of Edaphic factors and their effects on agriculture. Edaphic factors are soil factors that affect agricultural production. They include soil pH, soil texture, soil structure, topography, soil fertility, types of soil, and soil erosion. Soil pH. Soil pH is a degree of the soil acidity or alkalinity. It affects the growth of plants. It affects the availability of soil nutrients. It affects the activity of soil organisms. It causes toxicity to plants or animals. Soil texture. Soil texture refers to the relative size of various soil particles. It is the fineness or the coarseness of soil particles. And what are the effects of soil texture to agricultural production? It determines the type of soil in an area. It determines the fertility of the soil. Soil texture affects leaching and erosion. Soil texture determines the type of soil in an area. We have the soil structure. Soil structure is the arrangement of different particles in the soil. It determines soil fertility. It determines the level and activity of soil organisms. And soil structure determines the water or nutrients retention capacity of the soil, and that is the reason why we can differentiate sandy soil, clay soil, and loamy soil based on their water or nutrient retention capacity. Now, it determines aeration and percolation. We have the topography. Now, topography is the slope of the land or shape of the land. Steep or gentle slope encourage erosion. Flat surface leads to accumulation of soil. Even slope encourages intensive farming. Soil fertility. Soil fertility refers to the amount of nutrient present in the soil. It aids crop production, food crops, cash crops, and forage crops. It minimizes the use of fertilizers. It multiplies soil organisms. It reduces cost of production. Types of soil. Soil are classified into sandy soil, clay soil, and loamy soil. And what are the effects of types of soil on agricultural production? Loamy soil is rich in nutrients, so it is very good for agriculture, while sand is poor in nutrients, hence it cannot support plant growth. While sand encourages leaching, clay encourages waterlogging. Soil erosion. Soil erosion is the wearing away of soil by means of natural agents such as water, ice or glacier, wind, and animals. Agents of erosion are mainly water and wind. Types of erosion. We have splash erosion, rill erosion, sheet erosion, gully erosion. The following soil conservation practices can be used to control erosion on a gentle slope. Number one, we have the terracing. Talking about terracing, terracing is a practice in which the slope is broken into series of steps or platforms. Each platform or step is constructed along a contour so that each of them is on uniform height, but different from those above or below it. It is done to reduce the length and the gradient of slope and hence reduce speed of runoff. Water located on each gentle slope runs across the field rather than down. Each terrace has a drainage channel which empties into a grass waterway, which leads the water down the slope to nearby channel. Number two conservation practices is contour plowing. The slope is first surveyed to locate contour points. Plowing is now done along the contours, joining all areas along each contour. Now, these contours are running across the slope of the land. Plants are established along the contours and not across. It is an effective way of preventing soil loss and hence promoting soil conservation. The next one, we have ridging across the slope. Now, floodwater would normally run down along the slope of the land. Ridges constructed should be across the slope to block runoff water. Such ridges will also help to trap the water into small reservoirs which will sink into the soil. It can be practiced by every farmer without much technical know-how. The next one is construction of drainages. Drainages are means of getting rid of excess water in the field. Many types of drainages are available. They may be open channel or underground channel. Pipes are laid along the slope to carry the water straight down into reservoirs below, thus preventing soil erosion or loss. The next conservation practice is cover cropping, afforestation, or density planting. Now, the principle is not to allow the surface to be exposed to agent of erosion, example, wind or water. The slope is planted with cover crops or other crops to trap or retard any runoff water. They also promote the percolation of such water which have been retarded in its flow. It involves planting of forest trees or other crop species to also trap and interrupt water, dust from wind, thus protect the soil surface, especially in the arid areas. Their leaves decay, enhance soil fertility, thereby encouraging more growth of other species. The next conservation practice is strip cropping. Planting of crops in rows along the contour, interspersed by rows of uncultivated area or fallow to retard water runoff across the slope. It also entails planting of different crops with different growth characteristics in alternate rows along the contour and across the slope to check runoff. The next one is mulching. Mulching is the act of covering soil surface with such materials as dry grasses, crops residues, and polythene sheets. It reduces the impact of raindrop on soil. It reduces the speed of runoff. Decayed mulch improves soil structure, most especially when grasses are used, and so help check soil erosion. Revision questions. Number 1, list and discuss 3 edaphic factors that affect crop productivity. Define soil erosion. List 4 soil conservative practices that can be used to control erosion on a gentle slope. Discuss how each of the practices mentioned in 2b above can be used to conserve the soil. If you find it difficult to answer these revision questions, go over the video again and you'll find it easy to answer all the questions.